What's the word, family? Welcome back to the Urban Concrete, where we lay the foundation of truth and keep the streets locked in on the real. I'm your host, Concrete, and today we're diving into a situation that's been blowing up the timeline. It's a story about the pulpit, the stage, and the thin line between a sermon and a circus. We're talking about the digital heavyweight Druski and the man who's been the talk of the town, Pastor Mike Todd. When satire meets reality, someone's bound to get uncomfortable. We're going to analyze the receipts, break down the linguistic roots of the drama, and look at the cultural history of the Black church. Let's get into it. So, check it. Comedian Druski dropped a skit that went absolutely nuclear. He was playing this flamboyant, over-the-top megachurch pastor. Now, Druski is known for his parodies, but the streets immediately peeped something specific. The fans weren't just laughing. They were tagging one man, Pastor Mike Todd of Transformation Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. See, the megachurch Druski skit wasn't just random. The audience pointed out that the outfit Druski was rocking looked like a direct copy of something Mike Todd had worn on stage. We're talking about a million-view moment that forced the religious world to look at itself. When you're cosplaying a pastor and the people know exactly who the inspiration is, you've hit a nerve. Now, why did the people go straight to Mike Todd? Because the brother has a history of what some call strange things in the pulpit. We're talking about a man who has used syrup and ketchup as props while preaching. A man who actually spat on a person while saying he was praying for them. Reports even say he's had his hair cut right there in the pulpit during a sermon. To a lot of observers, this isn't just ministry. It looks like a circus. It's performative and theatrical. And that's why when Druski did his thing, the connection was instant. People weren't thinking about a traditional man of God. They were thinking about the man with the props. This past week, Pastor Mike Todd finally addressed the video. Now, he claimed he'd been off social media, but that video had a few 100 million views. You can't hide from that. He called the skit hilarious and funny, but if you look at the tape, the man seemed very nervous. He tried to distance himself, saying things like, "I don't even got a Rolls Royce," and suggesting that people were using AI to manipulate pictures of him. He claimed he couldn't get distracted because he's building something for God. But here's where the urban concrete analysis kicks in. We have an old saying in the culture, a hit dog's going to holler. This linguistic root comes from the idea that the one who screams when the stone is thrown into a pack is the one who actually got hit. If the skit wasn't about you, why do you feel compelled to speak out? If you weren't the one Druski was parodying, you wouldn't need to explain your garage or your nail budget. Let's get into the real argument here. We're seeing a massive shift in the cultural history of the Black church. You've got the institutional churches, think the National Baptist Convention or the Church of God in Christ. These spots like Shiloh Baptist have been around for 125, 150 years. Why? Because they're built on community, not a single face. If the pastor passes or retires, the institution keeps moving because they aren't serving a name, image, and likeness budget. But then you have these personality-driven mega churches. These spots are built entirely around the pinnacle of the founder. When the leader is popping on social media, the church is full. But if that leader gets sick, falls into scandal, or steps away, the whole thing often disbands. People are following the clout and the personality, not the foundation. Here's the heavy part. When you re-preaching the gospel of Jesus, who the sources remind us was not a wealthy man, but you re-chasing opulent things and clout, you create a massive disconnect. The argument here is that some of these leaders are essentially scammers using the faith to stack paper. If you believe Christianity is real, you got to believe there's an ultimate accountability for how you handle the flock. You can't avoid accountability by saying I don't have a Rolls Royce while still acting like a performer. Look at the influence on someone like Dr. Umar Johnson. He's still a figure in the community, but his momentum slowed way down. Why? Because people don't trust him. Once that trust is broken, you can still get tours and speaking gigs, but you can't do magnificent things that actually change lives because the community doesn't believe in the foundation anymore. The same thing is looming for figures like Mike Todd. When your name sticks out like a sore thumb for things you don't have any business doing, you lose the ability to grow. People aren't dumb. They recognize when the shift goes from the word to the wallet. Druski's skit was a mirror. It showed the world a version of the modern pastor that is more focused on the theatrical than the theological. Whether Mike Todd likes it or not, the hit dog hollered, and the streets are watching. Are we building legacies that stand for 150 years? Or are we just chasing the next viral clip? That's the question for the culture. I'm your host, Concrete. This has been the Urban Concrete. We stay firm, we stay real, and we always keep it 100. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and let me know in the comments, was Druski out of pocket, or was he just telling the truth? We're out.